Where does Ivan Herrera rank among catchers in all of baseball, as well as 3 candidates who need to bounce back next year for the St. Louis Cardinals? Thank you for tuning in to the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast. My name is Andrew Teuscher, and as we've gone through a little bit already, the MLB Network is coming out with this series of top 10 players at each position, and while the Cardinals have very few players who rank at the top 10 at any position, catcher actually was one of them. Now, I think Ivan Herrera is an incredible player, and he's going to technically play catcher next year and played a little bit of catcher. His primary position is still catcher at the time being, although he could be playing left field, DH, possibly some first base. Right now, he's classified as a catcher, and his raw hitting ability got him all the way up to ranked as the 9th best catcher in all of baseball. As I've laid out in previous videos, this MLB Network list is not made primarily by human beings. It's made by the Shredder, which is a computer system that analyzes a bunch of statistics that I am not smart enough to understand, and they spit out a list of top 10 players at each position, and it truly contradicts every time the MLB Top 100 list that went out that was only put together by human beings. The computer has its say, and I honestly probably tend to agree with the computer more than the individuals themselves, especially because they're ranking the Cardinals higher than the actual people did. For instance, we saw some other guys popping up there much higher, like Brendan Donovan already, and Ivan Herrera ranks higher on this list if we expanded it to a top 100 than he did, as he only ranked 98th in the top 100 there, and he is the 9th best catcher in all of baseball. And like I said, it's clearly not because of his glove. There's a good chance he does not play much catcher, if any at all, this season if spring training goes terribly. They're trying to help him get this figured out with the new curriculum that they're implementing, and Heimblum's been very happy to get Herrera the chance at that, but his bat is so good that if he doesn't develop quickly enough with the catching position, we're going to find a spot for him. And our outfield has certainly openings in it. Possibly maybe some first base if we want to stick Alec Burleson back in the outfield. I don't think that's ideal. Ideally, Ivan Herrera is a catcher, and it works out. He's athletic enough, we can hope and dream. But he's the 9th best catcher. To go over the full list for you guys just so you can see it, go check out the article as well. Talks more about that and the other position players, again, on MLB.com. Number 1 was Cal Raleigh. William Contreras was 2. Will Smith 3. Drake Baldwin 4. 5 was Alejandro Kirk, the young stud, the small stud, short king. 6 was Gabriel Moreno. 7 was Yanier Diaz. 8 was Sean Murphy. 9, our guy Herrera. And 10 was Shea Langoliers. So Ivan Herrera had an excellent season last year, popping on the scene, having played in 107 games. He hit 284, 373 on base, and a 464 slug. Good enough for an 837 OPS, 136 OPS plus, 36% above the average hitter, and he hit 19 home runs to go with that. He's a guy who could push to hit 30 home runs if he plays a full season and hit like an all-star. You could tell last season every time Ivan Herrera got up there, he was by far the best hitter on the Cardinals, by far the most pop. The Cardinals need more players like this, and we would be happy to have Herrera hitting like that at the catcher position. That would be a cheat code for the Cardinals, and you would see him skyrocket up this list as one of the best hitting catchers in all of baseball, which he already is. Hopefully he can keep improving on that. I mean, technically the guy is just very, very young, has had very few seasons under his belt. He could get better from here as a hitter, and that'd be an amazing thing to see. We're just hoping he actually finds a position to play and is not just a DH. We'd be happy to have a bat. If your DH is going to hit 850, it's still happy to have him have an 850 OPS, but you don't ideally want to have a guy just stuck in your DH spot and not good enough to play anything else. So ideally he progresses and stays at catcher, but we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Herrera will stay at catcher? Do you think he can finally figure it out? Or do you think he ends up at another position? Or do you think he becomes a full-time DH? Fingers crossed for the catcher thing. That'd be pretty awesome. All right. I want to dive into this next section here regarding 3 players who need to bounce back for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I stole these right out of Thomas Gauvain's article on Redbird Rants. Great article, great writer, Mr. Gauvain. Go over there and read it, and I want to go through 3 of the players that he mentioned in the article, get the rest of the players in his article, again, on Redbird Rants. The first player he had on that list was Lars Nootbaar. Lars Nootbaar is coming off a double heel surgery to recover from Hanglin's deformities. No idea what that is. Not a doctor, but I'll tell you it sounds painful. Both of your heels, like how do you limp? Is it just on your tiptoes? What do you do with that? Regardless, it makes sense why Lars Nootbaar may have had a down year last year and why the Cardinals haven't been able to trade him. For all intents and purposes, we're thinking that he's going to start the year on the IL, and it's probably why he hasn't been traded just yet. He's entering his 6th season in Major League Baseball and is right now 28 years old. As a career hitter, he is slashing 242, 341, and 406. Good enough for a 747 OPS. That's one of the best hitters on the Cardinals in general, and he's an OPS plus of 109. So the Cardinals are hoping that he gets back to what he's been his whole career, because last year was a disaster. Last year, he played in his most games ever, but he was clearly injured for a lot of it. He wasn't injured enough to stay out, but he was definitely hurt. 135 games in 2025, but had a career low OPS in the 600s, and it was the first time his OPS plus was under 100. So it's the first time in his career, in his 6 seasons, that in his 5 seasons, that he was a below average hitter, which we've come to know him as being an incredibly solid, consistent hitter. Him and Brendan Donovan very similar in that regard. Never insane pop, never insane numbers, but just incredibly consistent, walking a lot. You loved him in your lineup, especially towards the top. His first 4 seasons combined, he had a 115 OPS plus. Last year, again, was 95, so clearly off of what it normally is. And what's worth noting is his defense last year was down significantly. Again, that injury really just, you could tell it's flaring up when you look at those defensive numbers. He was in the 23rd percentile of defensive fielding value there, if you look on Baseball Savant. So the Lars Nootbaar we know is a well above average hitter, not significantly better, but an above average hitter and a great defender, and all of a sudden he lost both of those things last year. I do expect to bounce back, assuming he recovers well from that heel surgery. As his best season thus far, we can hope for the best season. I wanted to lay out the best seasons for all these guys. Was his 3rd season in 2023, which were just better days for the Cardinals, where he had a 3.3 WAR, which the Cardinals would love. We're not going to have many 3 WAR players next year. He slashed 261, 367 on base, and a 418 slug. Good enough for a 784 OPS. Not insane. Not going to win any awards, but that is a very solid hitter. 14 home runs, 23 doubles. That was in just 117 games. Newt, we need you to stay healthy. We want to be yelling Newt as many times as possible next year, and we need you to get back to being the consistent hitter you are and solid fielder. We're not asking for anything more. Don't develop into anything greater than what you already are. I mean, it'd be great if you did, but we need Nootbaar to get back to being the hitter that we just lost in Brendan Donovan. And where I think that would land Nootbaar next year, I kind of hope to do that with each one of these guys, is what could we see out of them? What are we wanting at the end of the year? Quite frankly, I just see Nootbaar getting traded. It's either going to get traded as a bench guy for somebody who they can hope they can develop him. I think very Dylan Carlson-esque, where he just kind of finds his way onto a contender and they hope they can get something out of him. Or we get a haul for him at the deadline because he was good enough in the first half of the season and we trade him away. I just don't see a lot, because he's going to be a free agent in 2028. That's worth noting. So I think either in the offseason or at midseason we trade him off, because I mean, we just traded Donovan, who had a couple years left of control, like Nootbaar, who is going to be 29, which Nootbaar will be next season in 2027. Lines up a lot like Brendan Donovan. He's a good player. I'd be fine with extending him, but I just see that's what the most likely outcome for Nootbaar is. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. The next guy, bunch of weight on this guy's shoulder. Jordan Walker desperately needs a bounce-back year, or just a good year in general on his ledger. Guys, Jordan Walker's been in the big leagues for 4 years now. This will be his 4th year that he's entering. It seems like just yesterday that we were talking about this top young prospect coming up, just like J.J. Weatherholt is now. Former top 10 prospect by any system whenever he was coming up. He's a career slash line of 240, 302 on base, and a 378 slugging percentage from a guy who's as big as Aaron Judge. I know it's driving us all crazy. His best season so far was his rookie year when he first came up and took the league a little bit by storm as a rookie. 276 slash 342 on base as a rookie is very solid. In a 445 slug, we would dream of a 445 slug for him this year. OPS plus of 113 and 35 extra base hits in 117 games. I think people forget how good Jordan Walker's rookie season was. Those aren't great numbers for just any player, but for a rookie, he came up and was what we wanted him to be right away as a young prospect, but then things just fell apart. I know that rookie season didn't end very well, and last year was his worst year. He played in 111 games, slash 214, 215, 278, and a 306 slug with just 19 extra base hits, and 6 of those being homers and a career-high 32% strikeout rate. Gauvin had this to say: if he can't get his stuff together, he could find himself being traded or DFA'd by the end of the year to make way for another outfield prospect like Joshua Baez. Walker needs to prove by the end of this year that he is a part of this rebuild and just get back to being the solid hitter he was as a rookie. He has so much upside. I think he can beat Matt Holliday, a guy who, outside of course, doesn't hit a ton of home runs, but just blinks a lot of balls off the outfield wall and hits close to 300. He has incredible contact. He's just got to figure out how to regularly make contact and get out of his own head. So let's see what Walker can do this year. Tell me what you guys think. What hopes do you have for him? Don't get DFA'd. Be a part of the team going forward. Last guy, Nolan Gorman. Another dude has insane upside. And it's worth noting that the trade of Brendan Donovan opens up everyday playtime for him. He has a career, for his career, he's entering his 5th year this year. He is a career slash of 218, 300 on base, and a 419 slug, and a shockingly high 99 OPS plus. Basically an average hitter because he had an incredible season in 2023, at least a very good season in 2023. He played in 119 games, slash 236, 328 on base percentage, and a 478 slug, which is good enough for an 805 OPS. If the Cardinals got an 800 OPS from another player outside of Herrera this year, we were going to be ecstatic. Hopefully he can get back to that. He also clubbed 27 home runs, 17 doubles, and 76 RBIs, again, in 119 games. So in 162 games, that's a easy 30 home run pace, pushing 40. He's going to hit well over 25 doubles or right around, and he pushed for 100 RBIs, OPS plus of 116, and a 2.5 WAR. No, Gorman's upside is certainly up there, and last year was a weird year. He's making some adjustments. Gauvin points out very cleverly, Nolan Gorman saw an increase in his on-base percentage last year, and he whiffed at a near career low rate at 34.6%, which is still not great. He swapped power for on-base, and it worked for a time last year, but not the full season. We saw those home runs last year dip quite a bit. 111 games, 14 home runs, slash 205, 296, 370. His walk percentage is in the 84th percentile, but he's first percentile strikeout guy still. We need to see Gorman be the guy who can hit borderline 30 home runs. And Gorman, you don't have to hit above 250. We don't ever need you to do that. If you hit 30 home runs, dude, just get back to hitting 230. Push for the 30 home runs, hit 230. You need to be the pop that we can guarantee going forward. As Gorman may not be our headline hitter, but as we try to add a headline hitter, we need a guy who can fill the role of someone who can hit home runs. And we desperately need that in the Cardinals lineup. So Gorman is an essential part, needs a bounce back, be a part of this rebuild, be our power hitter and nothing more. Well, we'll see. We'll look into more guys' profiles going into the year as we go through spring training. It is right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report next week, folks. Stay with us. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about Gorman, about Nootbaar, about Jordan Walker. Who needs to bounce back? Do you think Ivan Herrera should rank higher among catchers in all of baseball? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you for tuning in to the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast. Again, my name is Andrew Teuscher. Subscribe so that you guys can keep staying up to date with the latest Cardinals news and insight. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's go, Birds.